We are good. Thanks, sir. Okay. I'm assuming everyone's in. A couple of things I have to read real quickly. Um, Welcome to the August, what are we, 4th?
Yep.
Meeting of the Scituate Conservation Commission. This meeting is being held virtual as an alternate means of public access pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, temporarily amending certain provisions of the open meeting law. You are hereby advised that this meeting and all communications during this meeting may be recorded by the town of Scituate in accordance with the open meeting law. And number two, Town of Scituate Conservation Commission's commitment to providing an environment of respect during our meetings. We ask all members to interact in a polite manner, even when there's disagreement. We value the participation of our community and want all participants, including marginalized and minoritized communities, to feel welcome and respected. We ask our committee members and all that participate to commit to these standards and to support and respect our community.
And Mr. Snow, we just want Mr. Baker to know that Miss Scott Pipes has entered, so we need to make her a co-host.
Holy mackerel, let's set off some fireworks. So it sounds like I apologize for the late start. We're having a little technical difficulty with a new computer, but I think we might have it. If we don't, we're going to skip over 107 and go to 3846 Treasure Island. But I'm just waiting to see if Josh can connect Penny.
I
Good.
I think I'm there.
You are.
Yay.
Jen,
I'm sorry, people.
Jen and Penny, thank you for joining us. I think this evening we have Jen Foley, Penny Scott Pipes. Is Brendan with us tonight? Brendan is not here. Eric, I know I've seen you. Roger Carroll, Robbie Burgess.
No, I do not think Robbie is here.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So let's pick up on 107 Edward Foster Road. Um, we have the applicant. Um, Jen, do you have anything you want to start with on 107 or?
I'm unmuting folks for 107 Edward Foster, and we do have Amy Ball also from Horsley Witten.
Okay.
They have submitted some updated information if you want them to present that.
Sure. And the other issues were all satisfied?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Why don't we start with the applicant's additional information?
Good evening, Mr. Snow, members of the board, or Chairman Snow. This is Adam Brodsky, and I represent Maureen Colvin, the applicant. With me this evening is Chris Lucas, our professional wetland scientist with Lucas Environmental, as well as Greg Morse, our professional engineer with Morse Engineering. I do want to raise one preliminary issue, which is I think we have a quorum, but I just want to daylight this issue. I believe Ms. Scott Pipes has missed two of our public hearings, and it's
You're wrong.
Okay.
Well, she was at the last one, and she was at the one May 19th.
Right. I believe we opened on March 31. Ms. Scott Pipes wasn't present. And she was present on May 19th, but she wasn't present on July 21st.
Yes, I was.
She was.
Not for our hearing.
Hmm.
Having said that, I believe that we can move forward with three members because I don't believe that either Mr. Burgess or Mr. Carroll can participate, and I'm just double checking that. And by the way, I mean no disrespect to Ms. Scott Pipes. I'm just trying to keep track of this because I think we have six members, of which 3 would be, I believe, a quorum.
Adam, can I just one quick one,
Yes,
and
sir.
maybe it's a misunderstanding that I have. It was my understanding that a member could miss a couple of meetings and still participate as long as they had brought themselves up to date, familiar with the aspects of the meeting, read the minutes, followed the article. Um, am I incorrect on that one?
I believe under the Mullen rule, they could miss 1 meeting, and then that was changed by statute. And I can try and pull that up. I'm still trying to do the math on the quorum question. Um, let me see.
Should we move on to something else while the math happens?
So, Adam, I think what you're saying is just 1 second, Chin. We may do that. So, if myself, Jen Foley, Eric, and Penny are in attendance this evening, we have 4 folks that could participate in this. Is that correct? But you're saying whether Penny, so we have 3 that could participate.
Right, that's the issue.
And we have a total of 6 people on, actually, we only have 5 for the meeting this evening.
And Penny wasn't part of the 721, I guess she joined late.
So I guess there are 2 questions. Again, what is a quorum of the people present? And if we have 1,
It's
2, 3,
I,
4.
I believe a quorum is 4 for us, regardless of how many are present.
Well, I don't think so because you only have, that's what I was looking up. I think it's a majority, so I think 3 is a majority, 4 would be a super majority of the 6 members. But I'm jumping around.
We have 7 members.
No, that's not the point, Penny. It's like how many
Yeah.
people can participate. Adam, how much time do you think you need to kind of dig at this a little bit?
Could we go second? And by the way, under 23D, it's Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 39, Section 23D, which I believe has been adopted, shall not be disqualified from voting due to that member's absence from no more than a single session of the hearing at which the testimony or other evidence is received. So I
Okay.
believe that if Ms. Scott Pipes has missed 2, I don't think that she can use the statute to essentially Mullinize herself. So,
Frank, can I just say one thing?
Mm-hmm.
I actually was watching it. I didn't realize on my phone, if you remember, I had the computer issues and I went downstairs and I got but I didn't know I could participate from my phone. So I was watching it, Adam, from my phone. And it was halfway through the whole meeting that I realized that I could participate from the phone.
again, I all I can tell you is I was just keeping the attendance. So I
All right,
don't.
well, you have that information.
Yes, sir.
Why don't you think about that for a few minutes, and then we're going to go to 38 Treasure Island. When we're done with that, we'll check in with you and see where we are.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So 3846 Treasure Island. You have Craig.
He should be unmuted. Hold on, I'm checking.
Yes, this is Greg Morse.
Good evening.
Perfect. Great. This is a new notice of intent, so we have to read it into the record.
Thank you.
I thought we opened it and we continued it a couple meetings ago.
Oh, Okay, if that happened, then yeah, this is the first time I think we've presented it, so.
Correct.
That's right,
Correct.
but I do believe we opened it.
At 6:30.
Okay.
Okay. For the record, Gregory Morse, registered engineer, Morse Engineering, representing the property owner, Treasure Island Realty LLC. This is a septic system upgrade project for the properties at 38 to 46 Treasure Island, which is out just to the north of the Hatherley Golf Course, Minot section of town. The property right now is developed with several single-family homes on it. They're essentially all serviced by failing septic systems or failing cesspools. The proposal here is to take those single-family homes, which are all owned by the same owner and applicant, and put them into a shared soil absorption system. Each building would have its own septic tank and, where necessary, a pump chamber. And then it would go to a shared Presby enviroseptic leaching field, which is kind of centered in the middle of the island. The soil absorption system, the Presby system, is outside the 100-foot buffer zone, but some of the septic tanks and pump chambers are located inside of the 100-foot buffer zone to the salt marsh. Additionally, on the property, there is FEMA floodplain. Two septic tanks and one pump chamber are going to be proposed within that FEMA floodplain, which is allowable per Title V as long as they have bolt-down covers on them and are watertight tanks, which they both are. We're not bringing in any fill for this site. There is some sand being brought in for the soil absorption system, but the finished ground surfaces here all go back post-construction to what they are in the pre-development condition. So there's no change in the topography or altering of drainage characteristics. I'm going to turn this over to you. This is a significant upgrade for this property, and it brings it into Title V compliance. DEP had no comments.
Okay. Jen?
Board of Health has the same plan, and they have okayed it, and just with a couple additional comments to, as mentioned, about the one house that will need some additional filing before that part of the septic is done.
Okay. Let's see. Jen, this is in your hood.
It is. I'm trying to look at it, there's so many lines. But all the work is in the within the between the 50 and the 100? Am I looking at this right?
So most of the work is outside the 50-foot buffer zone, and the soil absorption system, which is the part that really takes the septic effluent and puts it back into the ground, that's outside of the 100-foot buffer zone. But what is inside the 100-foot buffer, and in two cases is inside the 50, is a septic tank and a pump chamber. And that's at the back of the house that's on the left-hand side of the screen right now.
Oh, I see that now. Okay,
There's,
yeah.
there's a tank and a pump chamber there. You'll see that it's right where the existing cesspool is.
Hmm.
There were two pipes that come out the back of that house, which we would be tying into with that system. The remainder of the site, the work is outside of the 50.
And are any trees, maybe two or three trees coming down, does it look like?
So there would be certainly some pruning of trees to get tanks around the backside of the house.
Yeah.
Where the leaching field's going, there's no trees that would come down for the leaching field. Let's see, the back house. No, there really are no trees coming.
Okay.
They'd be limbed up just to get equipment and
Yeah.
the tanks around, but the trees themselves all stay.
Okay. And have you guys proposed any mitigation for that work specifically in the 50?
Just just runoff, erosion mitigation. We have an erosion control barrier at the limit of work. Otherwise, it's grass surface now, and it was proposed to go back as grass surface.
Yeah. I think I'd like to see some mitigation for that, just because it is very much in the 50. But other than that, I think I'm good for now, Frank.
Okay, thank you. Penny?
No, it obviously needs to be done, and it's very interesting to me, Greg, how
It's
you're
a unique
doing
property.
this into one leaching field or whatever you want to call it. No, I really don't have a problem. Of course, mitigation's always nice. A few plants. But other than that, no, I find this very interesting. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Penny. Eric?
Yeah, I think that, as you indicated, Greg, it's going to be an improvement to this site. Um, and I think that on the mitigation front, while I agree with Jim and Penny, it seems as if this is just the first phase of this project overall, and a second NOI will probably need to be filed to get the remainder of this site sort of as the applicant wishes. So I don't know if it just makes sense to keep this in mind as it relates to mitigation when the entire project is sort of being
Comes
presented.
before us.
So that's really all I had, Frank.
Okay, thank you. Roger?
No additional questions.
Okay. Do we have anybody in the audience for this one?
I do not see any hands raised.
All right. So Greg, I'm just kind of curious. It looks like two of these buildings are going to a septic tank and then by gravity to the D blocks, and then two of them are from
Pump
septic
chamber.
tanks to pump chambers, and they'll have to pump to that, right?
Correct.
Um, and that number 43, as you pointed out, is but the whole building, the whole property is
Yeah.
in the 50. And then the building that's sort of in disrepair is being connected, and I think that was a total bedroom count. Was it 16?
The total bedroom for the entire project between all the buildings. Hold on, let me look it up here.
I think it's 16.
Eight. Number of bedrooms. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 in total. Correct.
Okay. All right. But I think to Eric's point, once they get the septic system, I'm assuming like that building in disrepair, they'll need to do some additional filings, I would think, to do work on that building. I don't know, unless it
Yep.
just needs shingles and
Yeah, I haven't been in the building personally, so I don't know the extent of the repairs that it needs. I know there's no power to it currently, and so that's going to be one of the things that's bringing in power to that building. Likely overhead, there's a utility pole from right in front of that building right now to power that pump chamber.
okay.
There's certainly other updates that need to be done. Some of these buildings are in rough shape. I know that.
Right. Okay. Um, I'm just trying to think of what's a sensible mitigation, like, just to get rid of all these on cesspools or substandard leaching is a pretty good plus for me, and it's putting all the leaching almost dead center, as about as far away as it can get from all of this. Um, is there, just looking, where is the erosion control? Is it in pieces or?
So the erosion control is a thick black line. It goes
Oh, yeah.
around the back of building number 43 where that tank and pump chamber are in the 50. It comes kind of up gradient and then connects into the front corner of building 46, which is the largest building out there.
I got it.
Yeah,
So you're sort of spanning those two buildings because that's the way everything pitches.
correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And then where the leaching field is, is well outside the 100-foot buffer. It's not 100 feet from the wetlands. It's 150 plus feet from the wetlands, with vegetation between the leaching field and the wetland itself. So we didn't have erosion controls in that location.
Okay. Is it planned? Do you think there's going to be much stockpile material, Greg?
I don't think so. I think this is a remove and replace, where we're going to be digging material out, which will leave by truck, and then sand is going to be brought in. We're not mounting this septic system up, so there'd be no reuse of material on the site. So it is material that would be leaving.
Okay. All right. Um, I don't have anything else.
Yeah.
I take a motion.
What about the audience, Frank?
Oh yeah, I think I asked earlier,
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably did.
and then
I'm
I
just
jumped back in
baffled
with a
here.
couple more thoughts.
I'm
If nobody
sorry.
has any other questions or comments, I think I'd take a motion.
I make a motion to close an issue, Jen.
Yes, close an issue. Thank you.
And I think, Greg, keep in mind, Jen Foley's thoughts, that maybe convey that to them, that, obviously there's a lot more here, that existing building, if there's any clearing and other work, they need to be back in front of the commission.
Yeah, I'll make sure that they're aware of that.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, did I have a motion?
Yes, you did.
Second
Yeah.
from Jen.
Second from Jen. All in favor? Eric,
Yes.
Roger,
Yes.
and Frank, yes. Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good improvement.
Big time.
How's Attorney Brodsky?
Chair Snow, again, based on Ms. Scott Pipe's representation that she watched the hearing and was present, we have no issue with her hearing and voting on this matter.
Okay.
With that said, you may recall that we were last before the commission on July 21, 2025, and presented a number of project changes. You may also remember that we received a generally favorable peer review from Horsley Witten. Horsley Witten, of course, wanted the commission to approve our mitigation plan and requested that we make some changes to the proposed plant species for the proposed mitigation area, and also provide an invasive management plan. And subsequently, the commission, including, I think, led by Mr. Di Tommaso, requested that we provide additional mitigation than what was proposed. And we have provided all of that information to the commission and agreed to all of those changes. Horsley Witten, who I think is present this evening, submitted a final review letter today. And I'm just going to read the conclusion. It is HW's opinion that the proposed project, once all recommendations herein have been satisfactorily approved by the Conservation Commission, would meet the performance standards for work within LSCSF and within the local regulated buffer zone. And with that, I'm just going to turn this over to Chris Lucas to explain the additional information that was submitted. I think he has to be unmuted.
Okay.
Thank you. For the record, my name is Chris Lucas with Lucas Environmental, professional and certified wetland scientist and registered professional soil scientist. I think Adam summarized that pretty well. We've modified the plans. So as he's noted, we've increased the mitigation area fairly substantially from 2,500 square feet to 3,965 square feet. That is now 2.3 to 1 mitigation for the work we've proposed outside the 50-foot, which we think is very reasonable. Additionally, this square footage in the mitigation area is approximately 22% of the entire site. So I do think that's should be noted. We modified the line to keep it generally linear. So we've encompassed the entire 7-foot contour elevation and portions up to 7.5 and even 8-foot contour to the west and east of the site. So we feel that that is appropriate additional area to offset the little bit that's beyond that in the 7.5 elevation. And again, we have that linear line in green with the X's there'll be a split rail fence along that edge. We've limited the mowing of the mitigation area to once every 3 years, as recommended by the commission at the last hearing. We have no issue with that. Ms. Ball recommended that we shift the mowing every 3 years from October to March. I don't see any issues with that either. So if that's an item the commission would like to see, we're flexible with the mowing every 3 years, either October or March. We've provided a detailed specification to remove any Phragmites that may encroach into this area, and that generally consists of a cut and dab. Go in, cut the stem down, and then just dab the stem with an herbicide. That prevents it from impacting any other native species and also helps eradicate the root. Because as you know, with this species, even a little bit of that root can be problematic left behind. The high tide line was added to the plan, and a detail for the gravel driveway was also added to the plan. Regarding the plant list, we provided the spec from where we obtained the plant list from the state recommendation for plants in the salt marsh buffer plant list. Based on a discussion with Miss Ball, there's two different specs for this area. One is for exposed areas and one is for more sheltered areas. Miss Ball recommended we use the list for exposed areas, which we have modified and updated our list to reflect that. So we've included that in there along with the specification and the modified mowing regime. So with that, we believe we've addressed all the commission's concerns with this site. And I think the mitigation is quite appropriate for this and incorporates your comments that we've heard over the last few hearings. Thank you.
Thank you. Jen, do you or Amy?
Amy is here and she should be unmuted. Yeah, she's with us.
Hi, good evening. For the record, Amy Ball, senior ecologist with the Horsey Witten Group as the commission's peer reviewer. Mr. Brodsky and Mr. Lucas both accurately sort of summarized what we had put in our letter today. Largely, we feel that the applicant has addressed the comments and the concerns about the plantings that we had. We are leaving it to the commission as to the size, configuration, et cetera, but believe that they've addressed all of the comments that we had, and we did recommend that they do a light touch on the Phragmites management. There was some discussion about a flail mower, but I guess that's for the cutting back, not necessarily for the Phragmites. And then we just recommend that the commission incorporate the planting plan, the monitoring, and the Phragmites management or invasive management as perhaps a special condition if the commission issues an order.
Okay, thank you. Jen Smith, you want to add any?
No, I do not. I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Let me start with Penny.
Well, you're not gonna like what I say. First and foremost, I really have an issue with this whole project, this area. I know how it will flood periodically, and it's just a shame houses going there. But what I do not like is, I still don't like the split rail fence. I mean, the 50-foot buffer, the house is right up against the 50-foot buffer, all right, to the salt marsh. And I think that fence should be very close to the 50-foot buffer. I know it's grass out there, but that, it's just, I'm not, it just really bothers me that this is going through. It's such a sensitive area and it's been abused for so long. One other thing I did want to say was that the mowing, I don't even know why it has to be mowed once every 3 years. Where the plantings, the wild, it should just be left to nature. But those are my thoughts, Frank. I'm just not happy.
Okay. How about Eric?
So I do want to acknowledge the work that the applicant's team has put forth through this entire process. I want to say that I appreciate it. I also appreciate Chris's write-up that he drafted on the 28th of July for the mitigation plan, and the willingness of the applicant to adjust the mitigation area. I think the mitigation area and all that's being proposed within it is going to significantly improve the site and its ability to naturalize more appropriately with the environment that it would like to become. And I just want to acknowledge all of that. I agree with Amy's recent comments and her letter drafted today, and also appreciate the applicant and the applicant's team and their willingness to sort of adjust things at this 12th hour. So I am satisfied with the work that's been completed to this point and have no further comment to contribute.
Okay. I'm going to ask Roger to comment. I know that you can't vote on it, but as a new member, if you've had the opportunity to look at this, feel free to.
Yeah, no, I think I'm going to echo what Eric said. I think over the last two sessions, I think I appreciated the applicant and the team coming back together and kind of adjusting. Just my observation in the two sessions is that, they heard the commission and folks about things that needed to be adjusted, and based on some of the feedback, it looks like they've met the requirements and what's out there. So not that I really have a question, I just want to acknowledge that from what I've seen, it seems like they did what needed to be done, or what was asked of them.
Thank you.
Frank,
yes.
Sorry, I just left
Yep.
off one thing on my notes regarding Amy's comment. If the applicant is amenable to a early spring mowing, if that's determined necessary, I would be in favor of that. However, if the applicant chose to use an alternate means of preventing woody material from encroaching in the salt meadow, that would be less intrusive, I would also be amenable to that. But that was my last comment.
Thank you. Thanks. Jen Foley.
Yeah. I am somewhere between Eric and Penny. I am appreciative of the changes that were made, and especially specifically calling out the percent changes. since the last meeting, because that's normally something I end up asking about. So I appreciate that being done right off the bat. Is there any fencing or plantings being proposed in between these two houses? I don't see anything, but I'm just in the scope of having everything here. These two houses are going to be quite close.
No,
Ms. Foley, this is Adam Brodsky. We're not proposing any plantings between the two homes. That's I guess, an aesthetic issue, not necessarily a conservation issue.
Well, it's in the 100, so if there's or parts of
Yeah.
it certainly are. So if there's a plan to do any work there, plantings or whatever, it ought to be on
Yes,
the
sir.
plan.
But again, I may be misunderstanding what Ms. Foley is alluding to is perhaps privacy, some separation between the two residents. We're not proposing anything. And again, this does meet zoning setbacks, which are designed to address things like privacy and the proximity of structures in relation to each other.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jen.
So if they were to do anything, they would have to come back. And there's a lot of lines happening around the driveway and these kind of front steps. Is any of that staying grass, or is it like, because it looks like there might be like one like awkward long strip in between the walkway and the driveway. Is that correct?
Ms. Foley, I'll defer to Greg Morse
Yep. So it's a gravel driveway that feeds the garage straight on.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are a set of steps that come down from a porch on the front of the house down onto the lawn immediately adjacent to the driveway. You'll also see that there are two boxes or rectangles there. Those represent two dry wells that we had added early on to handle some of the roof runoff that might be some of the confusion. There's also two lines representing the 10 contour and the 9 contour because we are placing some fill just at the base of those steps.
So the lines coming kind of like above and below the step. Oh, that's a 9 and a 10. Is that what you're? Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
It's a 9 and 10 contour.
All right. I was looking at the old 9 and 10,
Yeah.
I think. Okay. Thank you for that. I think, well, I know that I do echo Penny's sentiments on the placement of the split rail fence. That should be much closer to the 50, if not on it, where we ask everybody else to put their split rail fence. In addition, or tied to that, having the driveway, I know it's based on a curb cut, but I mean, we're here. The driveway being in the 50 is definitely an issue for me. That would be, I think, a great way to, substantially move out of that extra sensitive area. And that's, I think, it for me for now, Frank.
Okay, good points. Thank you. I think I've hit all our members, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have folks in the audience?
If they would like to raise their hand. All right, I've Walter Sullivan. I will unmute.
Walter?
Good evening. Sorry for the delay. Walter Sullivan, an attorney of Norwell, representing some of the abutters, including Bill Shields and Bill McKelvey. With me is Paul Marabito, who will comment more specifically on the revised plan that was submitted last week, but our comments remain from the last meeting. Specifically, we're concerned that we're relying on a wetland line that expired. We don't see any evidence that the lots have 10,000 square feet of uplands. And we continue to believe that this is out of order, that a special permit should be obtained from the Zoning Board of Appeals. And lastly, concerned that in order to get to the 10-foot contour, it appears to us that they're bringing in fill to get to that level. With me is Paul Marabito, our engineer for the abutters, who has some more specific comments. Paul?
Okay, relative to the revised plan you got from Morris, he shows a line on there that he labels the Floodplain and Watershed Protection Act. The zoning bylaw is very clear that the upland area for a lot cannot include any wetland, any land in the Floodplain and Watershed Protection District. If you look at his plan and look at where that line is, I'm not convinced that that back lot has the 10,000 square feet of upland. He also has a note on the plan on the left side of it where he lists the lot area requirements to make it a legal lot, but he's failed to show the upland area for each of those two lots. That's something that'll have to be proven to the building inspector if he chooses to issue the building permit. The other thing is that they're also bringing in fill to raise the elevation of the land on portions of the land that are below the 10-foot contour, which is the boundary of the floodplain and watershed protection district. That line was shown on a plan we did in 1994, submitted to the planning board. We had to show all the various zoning districts for that property, and they agreed with our location and the boundary being a 10-foot contour. In his testimony in a trial, it was either before the appeals court or the SJC, the former conservation agent, who was also one of the authors of the floodplain watershed protection district map, stated that the intent was to have the land area between Second Cliff and First Cliff to be included in the floodplain and watershed protection district, which this property clearly lies in. We've asked 2 or 3 times to have the upland area shown on these 2 lots to make sure they're legal lots, and for whatever reason that information hasn't been forthcoming. But at some point it will have to be forthcoming. If they don't have the 10,000 square feet, then that back lot is not a buildable lot. I think those are all the comments I have at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Walter, do you have anything else to add to that?
No, that's it for now, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Do we have anyone else?
Yes, William McKelvey, I am unmuting you.
Mr. McKelvey, are you in?
All right. I'm not sure. They need to unmute on their end.
I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
We got you. Good evening.
Sorry. I brought the last time the issue of the mean high tide versus the spring high tide. Section R322.1 of the residential code, the Massachusetts residential code requirement in the floodplain. No message. Says that the new building shall be located landward of the reach of the mean high tide. And for Scituate, the mean high tide is 9.3 feet, not 7.51 feet as shown on the spring high tide. That extra nearly 2 feet of water, I think, is going to change the whole idea of where this house can be placed. There's probably not going to be enough room. To me, that seems kind of cut and dry. Um, that plan is not correct. It's based on spring high tide instead of mean high tide. So those are my comments.
Can you state that statute again for me, Mr. McKelvey?
Yes, it's Mass Residential Code requirement, section R 322.1.
So this is in this building code.
It says the Massachusetts Residential Code.
Okay.
If you add another 2 feet of water, that's going to move things up so tight there's not room for that house.
Gotcha. And this is a situation where we oftentimes go back and forth with the building department when it comes to these areas, what's allowed with conservation and our jurisdiction, and then what is the jurisdiction of the building department. And so the piece that you're citing, and we do try to collaborate with the building department when it comes to a lot of this, because it's frustrating for people to go through one entity and then get to another and find out that what they want to put into effect is not possible. But it's hard sometimes for us to weigh in on something that's not part of our jurisdiction. We have a Wetlands Protection Act, we have our own town bylaws, number of things like that. And then we have a statute or whatever that's out of either it's out of the IBC, the International Building Code, which Massachusetts works under, or the state has its own amendments, and I'd have to look that one up. But that again brings to mind a conversation that Jen and I had with the building department last fall about another house and who had jurisdiction over aspects of the building. So you may be correct in that statement. I'm just questioning whether our commission has the ability to weigh in on that in our review process. I guess is what I'm thinking. But something I'm going to ask Jen to talk over with the building inspector.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then again, the other one is the square footage. I know in forming lots that there has to be a certain square footage of uplands proven. And I guess the wetlands line being on the stone wall, I'm assuming that the calculations for the 10,000, maybe this is a question for Greg, includes sort of everything south of the stone wall. Is that right?
So Chair Snow, this is Adam
Or Adam?
Brodsky,
Yep.
and I'm happy to have Greg answer your question, but we're running far afield of either the Wetlands Protection Act or your local wetlands bylaw. That's a zoning issue, and
Okay.
it's not going to surprise you that we have reviewed those issues extensively with the building commissioner. Similarly, all of Mr. Maravito's comments relate to the location of the town floodplain, and as you know, we've consulted with the building commissioner and presented you with that information.
Okay.
If they have an issue with that, they'll have to take it up with the building commissioner. You've correctly indicated told Mr. McKelvey that the Conservation Commission doesn't have jurisdiction over the Massachusetts Building Code, but be assured that everything that we are going to construct will have to comply with the Massachusetts Building Code, and that is the job of the building commissioner. I do want to speak to the fence and the driveway, but might want to take a breath and maybe give Greg a chance to answer your question, just so you understand.
Okay.
Sure. Greg Morse, registered engineer, Morse Engineering. Just briefly adding a little bit of color to what Adam just said. These are mostly building department and zoning enforcement officer issues. But regarding the lot area, I do identify on the plan that the lot does have 18,084 square feet. 4,072 square feet of that is the salt marsh area. This lot has 14,000, give or take, of upland land area. Mr. Maravito says that you can't include the floodplain and watershed protection district in that upland area calculation. He doesn't provide a citation in the zoning bylaw, which says that you can't do that. I've reviewed the lot area with the building inspector, and I'm reading right from the bylaw right now that the required lot area specified can be exclusive or should be exclusive of land, underwater bodies, wet meadows, or marshes as defined under the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40. It does not include the limits of the local floodplain and watershed protection district, as Mr. Marabito keeps implying. Regarding the elevation 9 that Mr. McKelvey is bringing up, I believe what he is referencing is that in this general area, we have approximately a 9-foot tide difference from mean high tide to mean low water. We have a 9-foot tide cycle. These plans are based off of the NAVD 1988 datum, which is the FEMA standard. We've identified where the FEMA line is on this plan, and we've also identified the mean high tide line. The mean high tide here is at elevation 4.2. That's not a number that we come up with. That's a number that's published. Okay, that's published based on the government performing research on data buoys off the coast. The closest one is off Boston Harbor. They monitor it on a 19-year metatonic cycle, and they publish the data. Elevation 4.2 is the mean high tide line on the NAVD 1988 data. So I believe the 9-foot that keeps getting referenced is with respect, again, to the tide cycle from high to low, which is a different datum than what our plan is based on. I'm going to turn it back over to you, Adam.
Thank you, Chair Snow. And I should note
Thank you, Greg.
that Attorney Sullivan keeps saying that our wetland line is stale, but you may remember that Chris Lucas confirmed that he reconfirmed and redelineated that line. So it is no longer, that's not an issue here. With respect,
can I just one thing on that one? Is Amy still on the call?
I am.
So Amy, you and Mr. Lucas reviewed that line together, is that correct?
Not specifically, but I did take a look at it, and it does appear that that stone wall is what's sort of separating the lawn area from the salt marsh.
All right, because the point that keeps getting raised is that we're outside the timeline of the ANRAD that we had done before. And
that is true. But you know that if the applicant so requested, the commission has the ability to confirm resource areas during a notice of intent process as well.
okay, so my question is, how thorough do you feel that you reviewed that with the applicant in determining that wetlands line is still the correct? I know that we reviewed this at length before. I think it was Sabatis that reviewed all that for us when the NRAD was done. Bob Gray did that, and there was quite a bit of work that went into determining where that wetland line was. So it wasn't done arbitrarily. I'm just asking that that process was reviewed and feel like it didn't change.
I don't think we have a thought that it has changed. I think it's probably the same as it had been when Sebastian reviewed it. We did not, that being said, we did not get down in there and start digging around and looking at the wetland boundary. I don't believe that was even really part of our scope.
Okay. Thank you. I didn't mean to cut you off, Adam. Just want to clear up.
No. Thank you. Again, we're asking again that you confirm that line, and there's no technical reason or suggestion that that line is inaccurate. With respect to the fence, I believe that Ms. Colvin is certainly open to some changes, but to put the fence along the 50-foot buffer zone would prohibit access to get around the house to be able to do ordinary maintenance. And I would like to remind the commission that we have existing lawn that goes all the way down slope to the stone wall and the edge of the salt marsh. If the commission were to deny this project, there would still be existing lawn which could be lawfully maintained under your regulations and your buffer strip requirements. And I should also note that we don't have a naturalized buffer strip that we're trying to preserve here. What we're proposing to do is to enhance that area to provide additional wildlife habitat and wetland value by providing an extensive mitigation area. I'd suggest that there's no real reason to put the fence on the 50-foot. This is not as if it's we're trying to preserve an existing vegetated buffer strip under your regulations. But if there's some adjustment that can be made, I'm happy to consider it. The same with respect to the driveway. We've been at this for now months, and this is the first time we've heard that there's a concern regarding the existing curb cut. We'd like to just use the existing curb cut. That's going to result in less alteration within your jurisdiction as opposed to, I guess, abandoning it and then creating a new curb cut that, albeit is within the 50 to within the 100, is going to create more alteration, more work to connect that driveway to the existing street layout. And I'd suggest that it may be less impactful to maintain the existing curb cut and driveway and simply connect it to the proposed structure. I'm happy to hand this off again to Greg or to Chris to talk further about those issues, but again, we're doing our best to be accommodating to the commission.
Appreciate it. Anybody else on the commission hearing that information? I guess I get the part about not wanting to change the curb cut, but I'm also just kind of looking at the line that was drawn, and it seems like maybe that line's parallel with the 50-foot buffer on the westerly part of the property, but then it drifts away in order to accommodate the curb cut. And I'm just wondering if it wouldn't be better if it sort of ran parallel with the 50-foot, given, to your point, maybe 15 or 20 feet. I'm not sure what that is along that whole distance. Just a thought. Go ahead.
Again, we can accommodate you. That's going to result in more work within your jurisdiction because we're going to have to create a new curb cut. I'll defer to Greg Morse. This is his area of expertise.
Sure.
But you're substituting an existing condition for a proposed condition that may result in more alteration, more construction impacts.
Well, maybe the line could even come and join towards the drive where the erosion control is and then turn in. So there's sort of like a little triangle that would remain or be that buffer area.
Mr. Snow, this is Chris Lucas. Are you suggesting there's a piece of the split rail fence near the contour 7 label and extending that more parallel with the 50 towards the driveway? Is that what you're suggesting?
That's what I'm thinking, that if that came towards the driveway and then followed the erosion control line back and leave the driveway, not have the, not change the curb cut, let the driveway stay where it is, and just have that additional area. Seems like
This, I know that Ms. Colvin will agree to that.
Okay.
Chair Snow, and that could be a condition of approval, just to carry that line parallel in an easterly direction until it meets the existing driveway.
Okay. Just a thought. That's
Yes, sir. No, we're happy to agree to that. That's not an issue.
as we work through this. I can't think of anything additional that we need. Jen Smith, or anything that you'd like to add or?
Well, there's a few things that have been asked for as far as questions to be answered. I'm just want to make sure they're not questions we want answered on the plan, or are we looking for more information to be collected?
Chair Snow, this is Adam Brodsky. I'm not aware of the commission wanting any additional wetland-related information. Again, the only change that I think we've discussed is simply to realign the proposed fence as you've discussed. I think that's easily can be a condition of an approval, so we don't have to continue this another evening.
Right. Yeah, I can't think of anything. Any other commission members? Is there anything else that you would like to get information on or?
I don't uh I don't feel as confident in the wetland line knowing that soil samples weren't taken. Which kind of puts a whole bunch of, the subsequent downstream decisions that have been made as a result of that in play. I appreciate the thought behind shifting the split rail fence, but I mean, I still disagree.
This is Chris Lucas. The, the the resource area we have out here is salt marsh. With the salt marsh, you have to have vegetation. There's no evidence of any salt marsh vegetation, including Phragmites, which is now listed as potential vegetation for a salt marsh, being located south or up gradient of that stone wall. This was heavily vetted previously with Mr. Gray through an ANRAD process. Our previous delineation included the limit of the salt marsh further down gradient, and we included the Phragmites as part of that agreement into the salt marsh, and it brought it up to the stone wall. As Miss Ball said, that stone wall does demarcate very clearly the salt marsh from the existing lawn, which has been legally maintained for for decades back into the I don't know the exact date. I think at least the 40s or 50s. So at this point, I think we've been pretty far along here that we have a very reasonable line for the board here with the salt marsh.
And Jed, as you look at this and question it and say, well, if there wasn't a wall or there wasn't any fill, but the reality is that this has been a lawn for probably prior to any wetlands regulation in that area. I think let go, this would eventually have other characteristics, but that has not been the case in this location. And I don't remember all of the discussion with Sabatis with Bob Gray, but I know that it was looked at pretty extensively in that process. And I had pretty good confidence with Bob that would come up with the right resource area. It's just
Chair Snow, it's Adam Brodsky, and I'm asking this question for you if you think it's appropriate to direct to Ms. Foley, but if we were to move that split rail fence further upslope, but not at the 50, would that give her an additional measure of comfort that no one is going to be going into that mitigation area?
What's up slope? So like I hear you, but I guess like, can you give a like, are you talking kind of that the limit of work that runs parallel to the house, like that line?
So again, Chair Snow, we need the ability to get around the house to perform ordinary maintenance. So what if we put the fence 45 feet from the wetland line west east intersecting with the driveway? So I don't know if Mr. Morris can explain this better than me.
Yeah, so 40, pretty close to where it's being shown on the screen right now. The house is currently 52 feet at its closest point to the wetlands, so we could draw the split rail fence again, 45 feet, and maintain an access around the house that way. That encompasses, even further mitigation area beyond the 2.3 to 1 ratio.
What's the distance roughly, Greg, from the house to the erosion control?
Approximately 8 feet.
So if the line were drawn, say 12 feet, as opposed to 8 feet, so it would be 4 feet closer to the marsh. Are we talking about the same location, more or less?
More or less, yes.
Do you follow that, Jen? So that
Yeah.
erosion control sort of wraps around the house and the work, and then it comes a little bit further uphill to join the 50-foot line up the driveway. But if they were to, rather than that 8 feet, if they were to be like 12 feet, which I would agree they need space around the house to do maintenance and whatnot, it would increase that mitigation area pretty substantially.
Well, I hear you. But if 8 feet is sufficient on one sideline, according to Attorney Brodsky's, then it should be good on the other side.
True.
I think.
I'm sorry, Ms. Foley, I'm not sure.
Well, you said 8 feet was sufficient from a lot line perspective for, on the side closest to the other house. So if you can put that side, if the house can be 8 feet close to that sideline, then the split rail fence can be 8 feet close to I think I'm mixing up my words, but I think at least Frank is following me.
No, I understand. The minimum side yard setback set by zoning, I believe, is 8 feet. And your assumption is that if 8 feet is sufficient for zoning purposes, it must be sufficient for house maintenance. I'll defer to the experts on that.
Well, what I think our point is just that if you can maintain that house on that 8-foot side, that's what you're saying. You can somehow maintain that house on that property line between that and the existing house, then why isn't 8 foot good enough on the other side? I think is.
And again, I don't mean to argue the point. The yard setback is for likely fire safety reasons more than for access. Obviously, if you have more and better access around your property for maintenance, it's much easier. Can it be done? I'm not a contractor. I'll defer to you, Chair Snow, but
Sure.
It certainly is a lot easier if you have a little bit more room. But I don't think that the 8-foot zoning setback relates to access for maintenance. I believe it's probably fire protection.
Well, it's a whole combination of things, and
Yes,
it does make it easier to have more room when you're trying to put up ladders or
Sure.
move equipment.
Chair Snow, if 8 feet would make Ms. Foley more comfortable, we have authority to agree to place the fence there.
Okay.
What about the driveway?
So again, if the purpose of this exercise is to minimize activities within your jurisdiction, I stand to be corrected, but the construction of a new curb cut and all of that's going to take to join the existing street and street layout may result in more impact within your jurisdiction rather than maintaining an existing condition.
Jen, do you see us, or I guess we could go back and forth on a lot of this, but are we continuing? Are we closing? Are we, where are we?
Chair Snow, if the applicant would like to close the public hearing if the commission is comfortable that it has sufficient information and it feels that the applicant has been responsive to their concerns. I mean, if we need to continue because there's more information, we're happy to do so. But and so I've got additional information, Chair Snow. I'm
Yes.
told that that we'll agree with Ms. Foley. We will construct a new curb cut so that we have a straight driveway leading to the new structure.
Out of the 50?
That would locate the driveway outside of the 50. That's correct, Ms. Scott.
Yes, so we'll go straight back.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Frank, I'm sorry. I just have a question, and I don't mean for this to be
No.
belaboring this fence issue.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to step on your toes, Jen,
No,
at all.
no,
But
go for it.
I look at the fence as an opportunity to protect the mitigation area in perpetuity to disturbances that may result from maintenance of the existing lawn. And as a result, I think the placement of the fence should be along the line of the mitigation area to accurately delineate the difference between managed and unmanaged space. So I would just point that out relative to the fence. I do think that moving the curb cut is a great call. And I think that that's a good point that has been brought up tonight. But as it relates to the fence, I think that we might be better served having that protected as it was, as it is relative to managed versus unmanaged space.
Well, I think what I don't want to put words in Jen's mouth, but I think the idea was if the fence gets moved in, so doesn't the mitigation
Everything.
area.
Understood.
And then right now what we're talking about is the whole driveway. The driveway getting shifted, so that'll be part of that. I'm just thinking out loud whether with this conversation that we can still close this hearing. I mean, I don't see what point it is to continue this beyond this point. If we have those pieces that can come to us no different than when we look for additional mitigation information or whatever. I know that there's a lot of folks concerned about this project, and I still don't know. I mean, all we're going to do is close it tonight. There still has to be a whole bunch of other. It's not going to be closed an issue. It's just going to close the hearing, and then.
But if Frank,
Go ahead.
If we are looking for updates to the plan, I would love to have those updated plans, how we're talking about them, versus closing and then not necessarily being able to accept a new plan. I don't think we want this. I think we want the plan that we approve to really show what we're talking about.
Okay.
And we do have a hand raised also.
All right. And then we got to kind of cut this off by 7:30. So, thank you, Jen. And who else? Do we have someone in the audience or?
Yes, Mr. Sullivan, if I can unmute him.
Sure.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Walter Sullivan again for the abutters. Very quickly, I just wanted to address the wetlands line with Mr. Marabito, who has some familiarity with that line. Paul, if you would.
Okay, for the just by way of history, I did the application for the owner to the left of the plan shown on the screen, Karen and William McGelvey. They had a stone wall with a salt marsh, but what we found was he also had a lawn going right up to the stone wall, similar to what you see on this plan. The lawn area was investigated and it was found that probably half the lawn was in fact a wetland line. And the plan we did for McElvey showed the wetland line for the in the lawn area to go right up to that first angle point on the plan in the left rear corner of the lot. You see a property line dimension of 26.63 feet. Back at that angle point is about where the wetland line ended, and we ended it there because that's where his property stopped. But that line, the area on the plan that was submitted with this application shows that whole dotted area as an existing lawn. I believe that that wetland line would extend into that lawn area. If that's the case, and the 50-foot buffer zone would be up into the house. That's one point. The other point is that the wetland line was identified by several test pits in the lawn area, and I believe was also peer reviewed. There was an ANRAD filed for this property, but that ANRAD has long expired. Usually the commission asks for the wetlands to be to be looked at if they're more than 3 years old. Well, the ANRAD is way longer than 3 years. I don't know if the commission has a policy of not requiring that to be the case, that the wetlands are looked at if they're more than 3 years old, but I think I think the lawn area needs to be looked at with some test pits to see if that is in fact a BVW. And I say that based upon what we found to the left side of this property, which was also owned by Mary Ann Doherty at one point in time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. And I recall the McKelvey project. It isn't that long ago, and the hearings, and we'll take note of that as well. All right. Well, so we're not going to close this tonight.
So,
we're
Chair
not.
Snow, it's Adam Brodsky, and
Yeah.
I can ask, we're dying by 1,000 cuts here. Can we, to the best of the commission's ability, have some assurance that we've addressed all of the commission's concerns and comments so that we don't have to keep coming back with new plans and project changes? I know that again, I'm not asking for any assurances, but we're now dealing with some new issues now, some months after the original notice of intent. And I should say, with respect to wetland lines on other properties, as you know, wetland lines vary from property to property, and we're not solely relying upon the ORAD. As you've heard, Chris Lucas went out there and refreshed this line. This is a newly delineated line that's the subject of this notice of intent.
Okay.
So we just like to make sure that now we have the universe of information the commission is looking for, please.
The split rail and the driveway, I think.
Right, the split rail fence and the driveway relocation, correct.
I think those are the issues that seem to be in front of us right now. The other issues of square footage and whatnot, I think the issues that go to the building department, I'm hearing that sufficient information was taken by both our peer review and Lucas with regard to the wetland line. I can't think of anything that I'd like to add. Is there any other members that want to add anything else that they'd like to get information or see? And again, we're going to continue this, so there'll be more discussion, I'm sure, but I understand their request to kind of narrow this down.
Yes,
Very
and perhaps,
sensitive.
again,
I get it.
we're, at least with respect to, concerned third parties, let's not keep repeating the same testimony over and over. And if there's new information, that's great. But we
Okay.
look at nauseum regarding zoning and building
Yep.
code and all of that.
Okay. What do you think in terms of timing, Jen, Josh, with meetings?
Well, the next meeting is August 18th. I must say it is it's not a light agenda. But I also know we have an attendance question on the 8th. So if we think we can get everything in this week, it would be probably better to have this on the 18th.
Okay.
Chair Snow, that works for us.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to continue 107 Edward Foster to August 18th.
Gets a
Second from
motion.
Jen.
Second from Jen. All in favor? Eric
Yes.
and Frank, yes. Okay.
Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you all. We are at 190 First Parish Road. I think I got to open this one, right? On
190.
on August 4th at 6 p.m., the Scituate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Massachusetts General Laws and Section 30700 Town of Scituate Code of Bylaws for the notice of intent filed by Dan Delufi for the construction of a garage within the buffer to a bordering vegetation wetland located at 190 First Parish Road, Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Information to access the meeting is available on the agenda posted on the website. And we have, looks like Steve Ivis. I haven't heard from Steve in a while.
Yes, if he's here, if he could raise his hand, that would be helpful. Otherwise, I think I see Mr. Dufili.
Thank you for that, Jen.
And if somebody else is presenting, if they could raise their hand, that would be helpful.
First Parish. It's just a garage, right?
Anybody
Dan
on?
Dufili, are you presenting the project?
I guess Steve wasn't able to make it, but I can go through the description project.
Thank you.
But essentially, it's a 30-foot by 30-foot detached from the house.
Detached.
And you'll see there's the wetlands lines was done by Steve. There's no living space above the garage. It's just going to be for storage.
Okay.
The wetlands. So it's in the 100. Where's the 50?
There's a 7.6. I'll say the lower left corner.
Oh, I see. Yeah. 57, come back. All right.
Probably about where that stone wall is, Penny.
Yeah. No, I'm okay now. I didn't see the 57 at first.
Okay. Thank you. Jen, your comments on this?
Yes, just pointing out a couple things. There's no driveway connecting to the garage, which I've asked about. I'm told that's not the plan. And if there's any utilities proposed to connect to the garage, we would want to see that also, or know where that's happening. Some of my other questions were answered as far as some of their plans for during construction, stockpiling, and where vehicles will park. But
Oh, I
just
see the driveway. Yeah.
Okay.
but
Yeah, the driveway would come out the kind of the right side, I guess I'll call it, of the garage, but I can have those added to the plans.
I mean, if that's the plan, it should be on here so we know where it is and what materials being used.
Okay.
Okay. And connecting utilities from the house to the garage, I'm assuming there'll be some sort of simple trench so you can get power and
Yeah,
whatnot.
yeah, there'll be a trench probably from the back, kind of hard to show the top left corner of the existing residence over that 8 foot distance to the garage. Will just be electric at this point,
Okay.
but I can have that added.
I think it's pretty straightforward. Um, okay. Let's see. Who's Eric?
Yeah, this question might be tough to answer without Steve being on, but just looking at the BBW line as it sort of approaches the driveway where the culvert is. This isn't a wetland. Like, I guess I'm curious on the plan. Is that showing a crossing there, or just for clarity as I'm reading this plan, like where is the edge of that wetland where the culvert is? Is there any sort of intersection with the driveway as it exists now? Um, so that's just one question, and then
So,
the go ahead.
no, I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure I was clear. So if I don't have control of this, but if you were to scroll down, is that the I know where the property begins?
Where L1 and L2 are.
Yeah, you're way back.
Yeah, so there's a pipe under the driveway currently.
Okay, no, I just wanted to get my
Or
bearings
the
just
L1.
on the plan because I wasn't entirely sure how the wetland sort of was transecting the property here. So if it is, that's fine. But I just was curious because I wasn't reading it clearly on the plan. The other thing that would sort of help a little bit would be the 50-foot buffer line, as Penny sort of indicated, not seeing that. And I just think that adding, as already was discussed, where that driveway would be entering into the garage are sort of my main takeaways, at least at the moment, Frank.
Okay. Jen Foley.
I think I'm okay for now, Frank.
Okay. Roger.
I think Jen and Eric kind of mentioned I'd be interested in knowing, seeing the driveway on the plan.
Okay. Have I not asked anybody?
Me.
Go ahead.
But I'm all set. I just,
I thought you jumped on right in the beginning.
no, I just jumped on and asked where the 50 was. I didn't.
Oh, okay.
The same thing with, the driveway off of the main driveway. I mean, this is back in the woods, this house. That's all. Just show it. And the 50-foot would be nice just to be on the plan. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have anybody in the audience?
I don't see any hands raised.
Okay. Is this the wetlands line that are on this plan? Are they part of the wetlands lines that are in the proposed 40B project next door?
This is just down the hill from that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that ditch,
Mm.
I believe, is the same.
Huh.
Not that that's really relevant to this project, but I'm just, I guess, making note of that.
That's interesting.
Maybe I'm wrong. All right. So what do you recommend, Jen? Do we want
I'd like to,
Frontage.
if we continue, we really can't continue to the next meeting. So to September 8th, add the driveway, add the 50, add the utility connection, and update if any of the impervious area calculations change, to update those.
Other
and
than
hopefully we
that,
can get Steve on the next one.
yeah. But it looks
Okay.
pretty good.
All right.
Okay, you want me to make a motion, Frank?
Yep. Does the applicant want to add anything?
Nope, I can just have those changes made, and resubmit them.
Okay.
Okay, I make
Thank
a
you.
motion, we continue 190 First Parish to September 8th.
That's
Second
Penny,
from Jen.
second from Jen Foley, all in favor. Eric,
Yes.
Roger,
Yes.
and Frank, yes. Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
So this next one, obviously, Eric, you're going to have to recluse yourself.
Correct.
Um,
Why?
on August 4th at 6 p.m., the Situate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40 of Massachusetts General Laws and Section 30700 Town of Scituate Code of Bylaws regarding the abbreviated notice of resource area delineation application of Eric DiTomasio for wetlands resource delineation at location 0 Grove Street, Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Information to access the virtual meeting is available on the website.
And we have Greg Morse from Morse Engineering.
Great. Good evening, Greg.
Good evening. Again, Greg Morse, registered engineer, Morse Engineering, representing the applicant Eric DiTomaso. This is an ANRAD, an abbreviated notice of resource area delineation at 0 Grove Street. It's approximately an 8.3 acre piece of property, previously undeveloped. We had Brad Holmes, who's a professional wetland scientist with environmental consulting and restoration, go out to the site on April 9th of 2025 and delineate a bordering vegetated wetland series, the A series. We've identified that series on the plan. It's approximately a 680-foot line that we're seeking to confirm. We also identified on the plan the limit of a intermittent stream that's contained within the BVW, but we aren't seeking determination on that stream. Our only request is for the bordering vegetated wetland line, as that's the most up gradient wetland resource area. We made the submittal and the commission hired Lucas Environmental to conduct a peer review. I don't know if they're on the call tonight. I don't see Devin Tabor, but we received their peer review this afternoon. It looks like they have questions on 2 of the wetland flags, wetland flag A5 and then wetland flag 19. I've requested Brad Holmes to go out and look at those 2 locations, and we will respond to these comments. The remainder of the comments we didn't see as relevant as they weren't with respect to the bordering vegetated wetland that we asked to be reviewed. So I expect a continuation, but this is to open the hearing and get your initial comments.
Josh, can you bring it up on the screen? Thank you.
And you know what? I guess I should have made one more notice. I said Eric couldn't participate. I am or my family is a direct abutter to this property. I don't have a problem. I think I can be impartial. If anybody feels that I shouldn't be, but I don't see any issue with my being that. But I should notice that FRS Family Trust is me.
All right. We'll keep an eye on you, Frank.
Okay.
Now that the plan's up on the screen here, just to familiarize you with it, and for some of the new members and Anrad, the whole purpose of this is just to confirm the wetland boundary. There's no work currently proposed on this site. On the right-hand side here, you see Grove Street on the right-hand side, and then in blue, you see the edge of that A series wetland that was delineated. The work that ultimately will be happening here would be off of Grove Street. So that's why we have that A series delineated, the 50-foot buffer zone in red and 100-foot buffer zone in green. Again, there's a stream and there is another side to the wetlands way off to the west at the back of this 8-acre piece of property. We aren't looking to have those confirmed as we're not doing any work further back on the site. So a fairly limited review, but that's where we stand.
Oh, this will be interesting.
Okay. So where am I? Jen?
Yeah, so sounds like they're going to have the couple flags that there was a question about taken care of in the field. There was a couple other comments about the location of the limit of the DEP Zone A and how that's put on the plan. And I want to say she also had a comment about a detail about the culvert maybe being added to the plan. Not a detail about it, but an additional piece of information. I think were her main questions.
Okay.
And then adding to the details that the site is in a outstanding resource water as a detail.
Okay. Jen Foley?
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Okay. Penny?
I'm good if those questions get answered.
Okay. Roger?
No, I guess just one more point of clarification. This is more education for myself. The purpose of this is just to recognize it, or is this going to be a future building spot?
We don't know.
So this will more than likely be a future building spot. Typically, what helps the applicant is in an area that they know that there's a decent amount of wetlands or whatever to first come before the commission and identify the wetlands area so that it helps them better plan whatever they're going to do there. So it's as important as if there was a house proposed on that site and we were doing it all under one hearing, but oftentimes the applicant first wants to know that these wetlands lines can be relied upon so that whatever they do with their project, they know what distances they have to maintain.
Okay. All right. So it's a starting point. It's just so that they know what they can work with.
But once we accept that, like in that hearing at 107, there was this same process was done to determine a wetlands line many years ago in determining that wall. And then now you move forward and then something else is planned. So an INRAD, although you don't see a proposed project, is still is a significant process because ultimately someone comes in with this and then it's like, well, geez, was that really the line? Well, that horse is out of the gate. So,
Okay, no, thank you. That's
yep.
helpful. No other questions.
Okay. Anybody in the audience? So I think it would be good just to get those. I mean, I've tromped through that area a lot. Pretty familiar with it. I think all of that looks about right to me, but they can iron out a couple of those small details. It would be helpful.
Yeah.
So what are we gonna do, Jen?
How far out?
If you want to go to the, I mean, I think this one is pretty short. So if we want to go to the 18th, we can, or September 8th.
Greg?
We do have a few things that continued to the 18th.
I'm okay with either one, whatever is more convenient for you.
Well,
Janet, it's all you.
I'm happy to do the 18th for this one.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to continue Grove Street to August 18th. I'm sorry.
Okay. That's
Second
Penny.
from Jen.
Second from Jen. All in favor? Roger?
Yes.
And Frank, yes.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. 37 Oceanside. We have to open that. And then it looks like we're just going to continue it right away.
Yes.
So on August 4th at 6 p.m., Scituate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Massachusetts General Laws and Section 30700 Town of Scituate Code of Bylaws regarding a notice of intent filed by Julie and Robert Colburn for the demolition and reconstruction of a single-family dwelling within coastal resource areas located at 37 Ocean Drive, Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Information to attend the meeting is available on the agenda posted on the website.
Okay,
what do they want to continue to, or when do you
the
want to?
18th.
Yeah, that's what they asked to continue to the 18th.
Okay.
I make a motion to continue 37 Ocean Drive to August 18th.
So that was Penny.
Yeah.
Jen?
Second from Jen.
Okay.
What if Eric wanted to do it?
Well, it's all right.
We're trying to get through before you run away.
All in favor, Eric?
Yes.
Roger?
Yes.
And Frank, yes. Thank you.
Okay.
47 Rebecca Road.
Jen, when do we want?
Yeah, this is already open, right?
Yeah. Correct. It's already open, and they've requested to continue as well.
To when, Jen?
The next meeting, the 18th.
Okay. I make a motion we continue 47 Rebecca Road to August 18th.
Okay.
Second from Jen.
Okay. All in favor, Eric?
Yes.
Roger?
Yes.
And Frank, yes. Okay.
Addition deck expansion.
104 Edward Foster Road.
And we have Dylan Brady from Grady Consulting here to present that one. I think we opened it previously and continued it without discussion.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's correct. Can everyone hear me all right?
Yes, we can.
Yep.
Great. Again, for the record, Dylan Brady with Grady Consulting, here to present Chris and Susan Kubler at 104 Edward Foster Road. I just want to begin talk about Chris and Susan. They've grown older and they want to use this home more safely. And that's the reason for all these improvements. So the proposed elevator shaft is to allow them to use all floors safely instead of climbing up additional sets of stairs. The expansion of the deck is to allow easier management. As of right now, it's a pretty skinny deck it's an L-shaped deck where it is white and it says existing open deck. There is the proposed expansion, which is in yellow in the south. Originally, we were proposing to cantilever the deck entirely and have no proposed footings. But upon structural engineer review, Rivermore Engineering decided it was their support that was needed to propose 4 footings. These would be the typical 12-inch sonotube 4x4 footings that exist on the open deck. And then the applicant's also just proposing to reconfigure the existing patio to remove it where necessary and actually shrink it, but just make it more usable for the new expanded deck. The existing resource area is a coastal bank, as well as land subject to coastal storm flowage. The coastal bank is represented by the concrete seawall. It's in the south. It's a very sturdy concrete seawall. So we do not believe that the proposed footings that are proposed at 34.5 feet away would affect the stability of this concrete seawall. And with that, I'll just turn it over to any questions that the commission may have. I do know Jen did make a comment. We do have the abutter notifications available. They have not been forwarded. But if we could just condition if approval on those being forwarded, I would greatly appreciate that. With that, I'll turn it over back to the commission.
Jen, can you elaborate on that with the abutter notification?
We get proof of a butter notification for any of these filings. So whether it's the green and white cards or the stamped sheet from the post office that the mailings were sent out.
So right now you don't have that?
I don't have it in my file, no.
He's got them.
It's, they usually have to send it to us since we don't meet in person. They would normally bring it to the hearing.
Okay.
Or give it to us in advance.
Okay. But all of that was properly processed.
That's correct. We do have them available. They're just not forwarded at this time.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Eric?
Sorry about that.
No, sure.
Would you mind looping right back to me?
Sure. Jen?
Sure. So I'm just following. It looks like the paver patio is getting a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
And is it the yellow that's new in those? I'm just trying to in those 4 footings, kind of like the.
Yes, that is
okay.
correct. That is
okay.
The yellow is the proposed expansion. Yes, with the dark squares being the 4 new footings.
Okay. So is the existing covered porch, is that yellow area also going to be covered, or is that?
It is going to be covered, and it was touched upon in the impervious area calc, but there'll be it's just being cantilevered. So there's no new footings proposed for that.
Okay. And I feel like the answer is yes, but the elevator shaft is covered.
That is correct. Yes.
Okay. Just you never know. You never know.
No, you don't.
And I just want to point out, I don't know if I made this clear, the proposed elevator shaft is contained an existing already developed area. It's just not a concrete foundation. So the elevator shaft is already an existing dwelling. It just now proposed a concrete, obviously, because it's going to be an elevator shaft that goes to the basement.
Okay, so it's going to the basement as the first
Correct.
floor. Okay. I love people being able to stay in their home for longer. So I don't have any other questions.
Okay. Penny?
No, I'm happy. I like it.
Okay. Roger?
The one question, all the work's being done on the east side of the house along the ocean, is that correct?
That is correct. Yep. There is no proposed work on north of that.
Okay. Nope, I'm good.
Okay. Anybody in the audience?
Um,
Oh,
Frank,
I'm
I just
sorry,
have
Eric. I'm sorry.
no, no. I threw you off by asking you to defer me. Um, I guess my only question on the deck is is there a detail, and I'm sorry if I'm missing it or missed it in your preamble, Dylan, about the deck slat spacing, like water will be able to migrate through the deck to the underneath surface. Yeah.
So we actually did calculate it as impervious because the existing open deck, the slats are connected. If that's something that would change about the project, we are open to opening the slats. But even with these slats being connected as it is existing, it's still only a 4% increase of impervious area on the total site. And with this entire site being fully developed, it's been developed for over, I believe, 15 years. That's not something we explored, but that's something we can if you believe it's an improvement.
Understood. I just was curious. I typically see if there was a detail on that, just just for reference. But I appreciate the removal of some of the existing patio, so it's sort of maybe a one-to-one. But that's all I have, Frank.
Okay. Do we have anybody in the audience?
I don't see any hands raised for this.
Okay. I just one line that's on this plan. So there's a southern boundary of the barrier beach. It looks like it intersects this property. So the area that you're working in is within the barrier beach? Or have I got it the wrong way?
Yes, that is correct. It is this plan isn't doing it justice. It is fully developed. It's loam seeded, but it is technically within that zone. But it's been previously developed for, if you want to Google Earth, it's at least since 2010.
Right.
So it's all riprap, concrete seawall that goes straight to loam seed.
Right. And I think this one came up back when they did a sewer connection or something. We were looking at that to determine where that barrier beach, because technically today we wouldn't allow that poured concrete foundation in that area. That would have to be on open piles, which the proposal that you're doing is on open piles. The only question is whether we would, I guess we probably wouldn't condition footings in that location. I'm not sure that that's significant here based on everything else that's already on that site. Do you follow me on that?
I do.
Okay. So there's already all these footing. I'm looking at the structural plan. So there's a number of supports and footings that are already like they're in dotted. Those are already existing piers. So you're adding 4 more.
That is correct. Yeah, it's
I
hard
got
to
it.
see when until it's zoomed in. But the
Yep.
existings have X's, and then the proposed are solid blocks.
Yep.
So yeah, it's just 4 proposed footings.
Okay. All right. I don't have anything else.
Okay.
Again, we don't have anybody else in the audience for that, so
Can we close an issue, Jen?
We can close an issue, and I don't know necessarily that we're accepting the barrier beach line, but we can address that as we normally do in our conditions about all the resources that are
Okay.
there.
Okay.
So I make a motion to close an issue. 104 Edward Foster.
Yep.
Second from Jen.
Okay. So all in favor? Eric,
Yes.
Roger,
Yes.
Frank, yes. Great. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Zero Bailey's Causeway, they're looking to continue.
Oh, are they?
to,
Billy's Island?
To September.
yeah, September 8th. So I'll take a motion.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to continue 0 Bailey's Island till September 8th.
Yes.
I'll second.
Second from Eric. All in favor, Jen?
She left.
Oh,
She
Roger
ran away.
Yes.
and Frank, yes. Great. 30 Marshfield Ave.
Continued to September 22nd, and they are going to re-advertise so we can reopen it.
Okay.
Okay. So if they're gonna re-advertise, do we still have to continue it?
I would, Penny. They could
Oh,
just
okay,
re-advertise
okay.
as notice.
Yeah, I make a motion, we continue 30 Marshfield Ave to September 22nd.
From
I'll
Penny.
second.
Second from Eric. Roger
Yes.
and Frank, yes. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. 135 Oceanside Drive. Let's see.
Raise, rebuild.
Oh, Frank's
garage.
Sorry, just looking for this. On on August 4th, 6 p.m., the Scituate Conservation Commission will hold a wetland hearing under Chapter 131, Section 4 of the Mass General Laws and Section 30700, Town of Scituate Code of Bylaws, for request of a determination of applicability filed by Susan Gordona for reconstruction of an existing garage located at 135 Oceanside Drive, Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Information to access the meetings available on the agenda. And we have
Sue Gordona here, and if there's anybody else, let me know and I will unmute them to present the project.
Yes, good evening. Can you hear me?
We have you.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for the time. David Bloss is also on the line. He's the builder. So
Okay.
hopefully, Jen, you can see Dave. And yes, this is a raising and reconstruction of an existing attached garage. And so if Dave is there, if you want to speak up, Dave.
I'm here.
There he is.
Good evening.
Hi.
Maybe just give us your name and address for the record.
David Bloss, 690 East Washington Street, Hanson, Mass. And what we are proposing to do is, excuse me, raise and replace a garage, an existing garage that is attached to an existing house. We are we are making the footprint smaller. ZBA has already approved what we are doing, and just one corner of the property is in the FEMA flood zone. So what we are planning on doing is raising the garage floor level 1 foot to get ourselves out of that level.
Okay. This is an RDA, right, Frank?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jen?
Yes, so I would say this meets the requirements for a negative determination. It's like you said, the corner of the garage is in the land subject to coastal storm flowage. So is all of the driveway. So I'm not totally sure if any work will end up happening in the driveway, but
well, they're not asking.
Right, but all of that part of the lot is in that flood area.
Oh, okay.
So just since the limit of work is sometimes bigger than the actual building, good to have a permit from conservation.
Yeah.
Okay. Say, Penny?
No, I don't have any problems with it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Eric?
My only question, I suppose, is during the raise and initial stages of reconstruction, will you need to be doing any excavation of the existing pad and subgrade material to reconstruct? And if so, is that material staying on site for any length of time? I guess we'll start there.
We will be excavating for a 4-foot foundation, but the material will stay on site, and there are no wetlands or anything like that around us. Everything will remain on site. It should not affect the neighbors at all.
So just with respect to that, thinking about just if you are having a stockpile of any kind on site, if there be consideration for sediment control from whatever that stockpile might be.
I don't know that there is any requirement for it because we are not adjacent to any wetland. It just happens to be in the flood zone, but it's an area that really has no limitations that way.
It's my only comment.
Okay. Roger?
No questions or comments.
Okay. Penny?
Just what Eric was alluring to, that, in case when you dig it up and we have a heavy rain, you don't want it going all over their yard either. So it might not hurt just to encompass, your stockpile until you do something with it. That's my only comment.
I don't think we'd have any problem with putting in erosion control around the project. That's simple enough.
Yeah, it would be lovely. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody in the audience?
I don't see any hands raised.
Okay. I think I'm good. I've looked at this. There's not much of there's a drawing here, a simple drawing for the garage. There's not really a foundation plan, but I guess that will go to the building department.
Looks pretty straightforward, Frank.
Yep.
I think.
Okay.
All right. Jen, what negative shall I give them?
You can give them. This is tricky. It's negative. I kind of.
You tell me.
Yeah, let's do a -3. It's
okay.
But I do want to emphasize when you're in flood, you're inland subject to coastal storm flowage, so that is a resource area.
Yes.
And we do want some sediment control around any stockpiles, especially if there's weather coming.
Yes, he said he'd do it, so we'll hold him to it. I make a motion for a -3.
That's Penny. All in favor? Eric?
Yes.
Roger?
Yes.
And Frank, yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night. 23 Alden Ave on August 4th, 2025 at 6 p.m. The Scituate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40, Massachusetts General Laws, Section 30700, Town of Scituate Code of Bylaws, for the request of determination of the applicability for Patrick O'Connell for installation of a fence and shower located at 23 Alden Ave, Scituate. About us, other interested parties are invited to attend. Information access to meetings available on the agenda on the website. You have somebody.
Yes, we have James Case to present the project, and we have a couple other images we can show also if it's helpful, but you can kind of see from here where the fence is, where the outdoor shower is, and where the walkway is. And there is to the side, there's a picture of the fence. It's like a 4-foot fence with some spacing in between. But Mr. Case, I'll let you present the project.
Hi, good evening. Scituate Conservation Commission. I'm Trisha O'Connell, and my husband James Case is here with me this evening. So we're here together, I guess. And I drew up the plans, so I thought maybe I'd just go ahead and overview the project. We were looking to build not a large, but a small 4-foot, just perimeter fence with pickets that would have spaces between the pickets to allow flowage and removable gates in the winter. You know, we'd probably want to take them down at some points of the year when we expect more weather. So I created the plan and also got the property surveyed by Atlantic Coast Survey. And if you look at the picture that you're looking at now, the lighter areas are mostly like, you know, small, like rocky terrain, some sands, rock. And the darker area is a lawn area right now. And that is all definitely in the floodplain.
Okay. And then there's a shower enclosure and
I put that in there as something I'd like to do, but I don't have my heart set on it. So if that's an issue, it's a problem.
No, it's good if you're gonna file before us, get it all in there.
I just threw it all on there and put it all in the pot, and I, you know, I have a paver stone walkway. I mean, it's fine. I can, if it's preferable to the commission, we can just maybe like use them.
I think you're all within reason here.
Okay, thank you.
And we appreciate the application. So, Eric?
Yeah, no, I appreciate more information rather than less, that's for sure. I also want to acknowledge that I think that it's good that there's space between the slats and under the fence for wildlife and you know, sediment and cobble, etc., to move through, as well as the proposition of removing the gates during the winter. I think that's all very reasonable asks. As far as the outdoor shower, I suppose I don't have any thoughts off the top of my head. I guess the paver stone walkway, we don't really love having stuff that could accelerate stormwater flowage. Are they pervious?
You know, it could just be a stepping stone if that's preferable to the commission. It doesn't really have to be. It's just as I go up between, like, if I did have a shower there, you know, it's just, it kind of cracks a lot of the stones and the sand, and it could be something as simple as just a stepping stone if that's more preferable. I suppose a flat stone is still impervious, but I think it would be a little bit preferable.
I mean, what we're looking at is not a large area. I mean, Jen, do you have any thoughts off the top? I guess.
I don't have any issues with outdoor showers, as long as, you know, they keep it open at the bottom so that, you know, the water can be moving. It's
that's the intent, yes. Like,
and yeah, and I do just because it was mentioned earlier about it being flood, it's flood, but this is also a coastal resource where we are, and then there's the marsh kind of to the side of this property.
Yes, on the other side, like to the southeast, it is marsh over there.
Yes, yeah, and then the ocean is in front of them.
It's right there.
So the house kind of blocks the flow.
Yeah, it does. And you know, having I understand having the walkway there. This is all behind the house, kind of in almost like a parking area.
It is. That area that you're looking at, you can see the car, and there's like a dark strip. That's like a raised planting bed. And I think the purpose of that, we've only been at the house for a little over a year, but I think the purpose was just to keep some protection for the cars if you did have flowage coming up over on, you know, like the west side of the house. So this house was built a long time ago. It's been here since like 1910. So it's an older house, and this is kind of a a stage one project, it'd be nice to have a fence, but I have been a little bit talking with the coastal management too about, we're looking into having it surveyed, find out the finished floor elevation, may raise it at some later date, of course, not part of this application at all. Not sure how that will we should have more information to gather, but it's an older house, and that dark area is a raised area with plants, hydrangeas.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Who have I not gone to?
Well, I do have a question. I don't know if you've gone
Roger,
to.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. I guess my question is really to Jen. Like, how are these typically affixed? And I mean, this is to the person as well. Like, how is the fence going to be? How deep will it go into the ground? And is there any concern about materials that are used to do that? I know there was a past meeting where they were putting in some pilings, and those were going to be fixed in the ground. But how are these going to be attached?
Typically, what a fence company would do is they would have an auger and they would drill a pretty small hole, place the post, and then fill it with concrete. They're typically 3 feet deep.
Okay, so concrete, it'll go down
Couple of
into
feet.
Yeah, okay.
Probably about 3 feet. Yeah.
And it's a great idea that you're designing this so you can remove especially that front part out in the winter.
Oh yeah.
And it being
definitely.
open to allow for the movement of sediment in addition to water going through is
Yes.
important in this area.
And we also have a gate on the east side that we will be removing as well. I mean, in the winter season, which anywhere from, I would say, like November to April. What would you recommend? What is this boundary that you think would be advisable?
Depends upon Mother Nature.
Yeah.
No, I think that's helpful to protect your gate and then to not have the fence end up somewhere else.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is what we want. We want to not
I agree.
block material, but we also don't want to have a fence end up in the marsh or in a pond.
Absolutely.
Or in somebody else's yard.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So what, Jen?
-2.
Are you ready, Frank?
Yep.
I make a motion for a -2.
Anybody want to second that?
I'll second that.
From Eric, all in favor, Roger?
Yes.
And Frank, yes. Great. Good luck with your project.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Have a nice evening.
You too.
Okay, we're on to 585 CJC. Just trying to remind everybody, I think this could go fairly quick. It's almost 8:30, and
yeah, there we go.
Be good to move this along. So,
the bridge needs replacement.
Oh, I gotta read this.
Yes.
I guess it does. Sorry. On August 4th, 2025, 6 p.m., the Scituate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Massachusetts General Laws and Section 30700 Town of Scituate Code of Bylaws. Request for determination of applicability filed by the Town of Scituate for replacement of a footbridge located at 595 CJC, Teak Sherman Park, Scituate, in Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Information's on the website. And I think we have Sally.
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can.
Hey.
Good evening.
I'm still awake.
We're just barely. So, and
just
for the record, this project is on Conservation Commission property under the care and custody of the Commission, and so I guess we do have somewhat of a interest in it, but I think it's pretty straightforward. Thank you, Sally.
Thank you. By
Very
the way, just
straightforward.
for the information, my name is Sally Rossi Orman. I am one of the managers of the Teak Sherman Community Garden for the food pantry. This is our main egress into the food pantry from the main parking lot on Chief Justice Cushing Highway. And so this has not been passable for probably a good 3 years now. And all we're requesting is a replacement and an improvement to accommodate the passing over of a vernal stream that has started to fill with silt. So, and also the bridge itself collapsing, creates a barrier for any effluent and such that was coming out from First Parish Road and such. So it's in sore need of replacement. We have over the years tried to quotation marks repair it, but as different kinds of wood, and the two main supports are old telephone poles, which I often questions why they were used for support, but that's another story. But they're so rotting now that there's no ability to screw in or attach any boards to the telephone poles. So we're requesting an acceptance to just change it out. We had put this money in for CPC request that was granted us in 2021 when we had the new fence replaced, and something to do with our water supply, as well as money put aside to hopefully rebuild this. And that's where we're at, year number 5.
Nothing moves fast, Sally,
No,
does
but
it?
you know what? The water moves fast when it wants to. You can see the log that's jammed there in one of the pictures. So that's what's happening. It's just, it needs to be raised, not a whole heck of a lot, maybe 8 inches. In some places, maybe 24 inches, but possibly not, just to clear so the water doesn't bog down as stuff comes down. The detritus that comes down for the big flash floods don't get caught underneath there. That's ridiculous, right?
I agree. Plus, it's not very safe right now at all.
It's not. No one's going to come across here with their stuff, carrying things. It's just and then because of this, the trails themselves in the Teak Sherman Memorial Park, they're not being used anymore, and so they're becoming occluded. But that's a whole nother story. Just getting access to our garden is what I'm concerned about right now.
Sure. Okay. Jen?
Yes, I think the idea is to rebuild this and then make it so that when you're walking across it, it goes. You can almost see it in the photo on the right, but where that tree is above it, it's almost like it'll kind of, that actually is sort of going up. So you want people to be able to walk across. Have the walkway go across, and so that way any water that's coming down is you're just going over it.
Yep.
Yeah. Right.
And with minimal impact to anything below it, but good to have the walkway up above everything so things can flow under.
Right. Correct.
Okay. I don't know. Penny?
No, I'm all set with it. I looked at what Warren was proposing, and it looks, he knows just what he needs to do.
Exactly.
Eric?
Yeah, no, I think this is a wholesale improvement of everything in this area. So thumbs
Thank
up
you.
for me.
I do.
Roger?
No, this is great. No issues, no questions.
Okay. Do we have anybody in the audience?
I don't see any hands raised.
And I've had a couple of conversations with Sally. Warren Cowan is going to be doing the construction. He did our bridge at Higgins McAllister, did a great job. We've had a couple of conversations, and I took a walk in there this afternoon and was very careful walking across it. So it's unsafe, and the sooner we can get it done. And I think making the span a little bit greater so that when in case of water running, people can stay dry and get a little more clearance, and hopefully material won't get stuck underneath it as easily. So, yeah, it's all good. And we appreciate all the efforts of the community garden as usual, Sally. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate.
Um, so we'll look for a motion here.
What is it, Jen?
Yeah, -2.
Okay, I make a motion for a -2.
And
I'll
second
second that.
from Eric. All in favor, Roger
Yes,
and
sir.
Frank. Frank, yes. It's nice when there's only a few of us. The voting goes quick.
Very quick.
All right. And a negative is a good thing for you, Sally. So
Thanks. I have no clue.
all right. Good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Have a good night.
Yep, you too, guys.
Bye now.
Now go home and eat.
There you go.
Couple more things. Couple more things.
Yeah.
My apple's gone, so let's get going.
Yeah, we have the minutes, and we have we have an enforcement issue as well.
Okay, minutes.
First, I make a motion we accept the minutes of 6:30 and 7:21, both of them as written.
I'll second that.
All in favor, Roger?
Yes.
And Frank, yes. Sorry, I won't fall asleep before we're done.
Yeah.
Enforcement order?
Yes, we have to Rebecca. That's the house that's on the corner of Rebecca and Lighthouse Road, and they received their certificate of compliance last spring, and then recently did some work on their site, changing the surface to what seems to be pervious pavers and adding some curbing. They are on the call tonight as they were asked to be here to answer any questions we have or talk about what happened, but I wasn't sure what you wanted to hear about first.
Penny?
Me? Take out what you did. You don't have permission to do it. End of story. I'm real easy.
Okay.
I've been by the site. A bit surprised and shocked that there was a curb installed, let alone the fact that it appears as if the entire property has been now covered with pervious pavers, and that would not be conditioned as it's been installed, and something does need to change on this site. That much is very clear.
Okay. Roger?
No, I'd like to understand the backstory from the person on what changed and why.
Okay. And Roger, you understand this is a project that we conditioned with a bunch of requirements, and then to find after they got approval, or got their certificate of compliance, and then all of this was added without any
permission.
Yeah.
permit.
Yeah. I think Jen, you and I talked. I got a little backstory
Okay,
from
so you got that.
So,
Okay.
yes.
I guess if the folks who are on tonight, if they want to give us something real short, but at this time of night, I'm not really that inclined to spend much time on it.
Okay, I am unmuting Paul Tyrell.
Mr. Tyrell?
He's still red.
Right, there he is.
Okay, can you hear me all?
Yes.
So sorry. This is Paul Terrell, and I'm here with my sister Mary Nelson. We own the cottage at 2 Rebecca. First of all, I am very, very sorry that we're in this situation. I did not intend to create a situation like this for you or for us. We certainly don't want to be sideways with the town or the commission. I had hoped to have Jed Hannon here as well as the engineer to kind of walk through this. Unfortunately, had a conflict. So I'm happy to kind of walk through this, but I really would like to be able to work with you to resolve this in a way that we can be in the right place. It is unfortunate. I wasn't thinking about it in the way you all are thinking about it. A year later, we came back to the cottage, a cottage that we used for 10 or 12 weeks. I thought we should kind of clean the place up. I did see pavers everywhere around the point, thought pavers would be a great idea, had Northern Oak come I was looking at it as landscaping. I wasn't looking at it as in a way that was going to be disruptive. And I really do apologize that we're kind of in that space. I don't, want to be in a situation where I'm sideways with you. I'd like you to work with me and partner with us to try to find a way that perhaps some of this could be in compliance, whether we could work with the engineer to do a notice and try to write this in a way that you get comfortable, whether it's limiting it in different ways or working with us around how it could best be suited for you and for the town. It's really not something we're trying to create an issue for you. And it would really be my request that we kind of work together at this point to get to the point where you are comfortable with all of this work that was done, in an effort to solve this. So it was really just one of those things where it was not thinking through what was maybe what you all are thinking is the requirement here. So that's all that really was going on. We worked with Northern Oak to sort of start with the pavers. I wanted to look nice and to kind of, tie it all together. And that was really what we're trying to do. It's a small property. It's really kind of a postage stamp in a lot of ways. So I didn't really look at it as being that significant in that regard. So I apologize for you having to deal with this, but we would like to work with you. And I really would appreciate an opportunity to bring this through the process and maybe some of it can get approved in a way that works for you.
Okay, thank you. So I think just given the time in the evening and whatever, we could go further. Jen, do you, I guess, take a look at talk it over with your engineer, take a look at the work that's been done, look at the guidelines in the area that you're in, and perhaps come back to the commission with a proposal that the commission could consider. I think that would be. We appreciate your being on the call tonight. You're at least you're acknowledging the
Yeah.
letter
I would
that you
really
got.
appreciate that.
So I think it would be good for you to do that, but keeping in mind that you really have to look at that resource area and the requirements of that area and the reasons that we do that. And
Yeah.
and I could spend more time elaborating, but tonight I think we don't. There's no need to get into that. So, Jen, how soon would you like to hear back?
I mean, I think realistically, it would be September. In the meantime, I will send you the information about the resource area that you're in, and that's why any groundwork comes to conservation. Different homes have had different permits over the decades, and so have gotten to different places for different reasons. But we're looking at the storms that come through there. We don't want to be diverting water, channeling anything. So I can send you that info while you, are considering what the options are for bringing that site, back into compliance. There's a changing grades and putting in curbs are actually, yeah, they're a big deal in this area when we're in a coastal area that gets hit pretty hard with storms.
Well, I appreciate that, and I appreciate your willingness to partner with us. And like I said, we don't want to be sideways with you, so we will work closely with the engineer and hopefully get to a place where you are comfortable as well.
Right. Jen, why don't you send the information?
Yes.
Why don't you talk to your engineer? Let's keep in communication. Hopefully we can hear back from you shortly and we'll pick a time. All right?
Thank you very much. Yeah, and I apologize for all the activity I have to deal with.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thanks, you too.
Okay, bye. Where else are we?
I think that's all for the evening.
Just one quick one. I can't remember if I brought it up a couple meetings ago or whatever, but I've gotten a couple of text messages from a fellow over at Border Street offering to make a path around the outer perimeter of the field. And I can't remember if we decided it was okay to do that. This is the Border Street field. When we don't want the field mowed, however, we're trying to keep like a lot of growth coming up along the stone wall, and there's a person that's willing to volunteer to make a single path behind the stone wall with his mower and actually like do one loop around the outer perimeter of the field so people can walk around the exterior. And I don't know if anybody has any issues with that. We don't want the field mowed. It's a one strip. I think the mowing deck's like maybe 6 or 7 feet wide. And it would just similar to what we have at Appleton, it makes a path around the field. So if people want to walk around it, they're not knee deep in hay or ticks or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's a good call.
We okay? If anybody's okay with that, we'll give them the go ahead. Any questions on that one, Penny or Roger?
No, I like it. I like that piece of property. It's
Yeah. So
a
this
nice
just
little stretch of road.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And this was just one swath on the inside of the wall, and he's willing to make that path all the way around, so place where folks can walk around it to get out there.
Exactly. I love it.
Okay. Great. Anything else? Well, it's 8:45. It's not 10 o'clock, so I guess there's some blessing and all that. I take a motion though.
I make a motion to adjourn.
It's Penny.
I'll second that.
From Eric. All in favor, Roger?
Yes.
And Frank, yes. And Penny, good luck with your new computer.
Oh, please, I'm going to throw it out the window.
And I also just wanted to say, it's kind of late in the evening. I'm sure we don't have a lot of going on, but Richard was at the office last week, and we gave him a nice thank you, and hopefully we'll hear from him again. We appreciate all his help, and it was good to see him for a few minutes, and hopefully we'll get down to Hamrock and catch up soon.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
And if anybody wants to know who discovered Yellowstone, it's Jeff DeLisi. Have a good night.
I can't wait for the AI to translate that one.
Good night.
Good night.